What is a dead giveaway of a toxic relationship? Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy. Thanks. Story 1. Break up, make up, rinse, and repeat. Story 2. When they say we need to work on our communication, but every time you bring anything up they get mad and start an argument. Story 3. Lack of trust and constant fights. Story 4. Gaslighting, or the idea that whatever you say can make them mad, so you start choosing every word way too carefully, end up not speaking your mind to avoid a fight. Story 5. Being yelled at, attacked for reacting to their abusive behavior. Story 6. No communication and everything is a blame game with no acceptance of responsibility. Story 7. Inability to take a step back, listen and analyze the other person's point and actually come to a conclusion during a conflict. Story 8. Lack of friends on one side. I've known a couple people who one of them wouldn't be allowed to have friends. Their only friends were the friends of their partner. Massive red flag. Story 9. My ex once pulled out a diary that she wanted to show me to be open about her thoughts and lay them all on the table. It was legit a full list of all the things she hated about me, written in the most deep and depressing way. About my career, lack of motivation, lack of communication, and how she doesn't find me unattractive. Her depression, that was my fault. It was the most deeply hurtful words written in a paragraph, conscribed in such a way that would not paint her as a bad person for saying plus tears. I get I was going through a bad patch back then, as many were after COVID. But fucking hell, looking back, nobody should ever treat someone like that. End of the day, I was a 23-year-old with flaws, and was still managing to hold our relationship together. We were okay. 3 months after we break up, I get offered a promotion within my company. 5 months after that, I get offered another huge promotion. I went from £12,000 and GT, £25,000 and GT, £30,000 and GT, £55,000, all within the last 18 months. I haven't changed one bit either. Still 25 years. Would never usually flex, but I'm proud and the proof is in the paycheck. I'm moving home, going skiing, spending time with mates. My life is good. Turns out those words were a load of shit. Story 11. They won't let me let you. Story 12. If someone is always talking crap about their partner whenever they are not together, I've seen this far too many times. It's always ended in total disaster within a few years at most. Story 13. Someone who does not let you have a life outside of the relationship and gets upset when you see friends or do hobbies you like, even if you make time for them. Story 14. Calling each other babe way too much, getting multiple vasectomies, throwing a Dundee at the plasma TV. Story 15. If his wedding vows include the phrase keep my belly full and my balls empty. Edit. Here's the article and video https://www.intheknow.com/post/grooms disgusting wedding vows red flags amp. Story 16. If you find yourself putting in more effort more often into the relationship, whenever you bring up some issues you're having that make you feel bad for sharing how you feel, they weaponize sex. Story 17. If you have to wait until your SO is in a good mood to bring up a problem you have in the relationship, get out ASAP. Story 18. Lack of autonomy. Things like having to vet every little thing you do with a partner, being isolated from outside relationships and not self-actualizing outside of the context of part of a couple. There is usually a power imbalance, or at the very least an unhealthy level of codependency. Story 19. One person does all of the housework, cooking, chores, shopping, maintenance, childcare, yet the other person continues to complain that they don't do it right. Story 20. A shared Facebook account. It just screams insecurity, infidelity, and toxicity. Story 21. My 57-year-old colleague constantly has to send videos and pics of him working to his wife. Story 22. When they treat you bad when nobody is watching. Story 23. Darvo. Deny, attack, reverse victim order. Story 24. You dread seeing them. They suck all of the joy out of a room. You feel too anxious to leave, in fear that they will hurt themselves, make it extremely difficult for you. Story 25. Being bitchy to each other at group get-together. I hate being around that. Story 26. My uncle has to call the cops on his wife because their arguments get out of control, and she's constantly accusing him and my mom, her brother, of stuff. He's not allowed to have anything in her house, has to ask for permission to be in her house, and other ridiculous shit. But he won't divorce her even though he has plenty of evidence money to fuck her over in court. Story 28. Lies. Deceit is the root of all evil. Deception. Hiding things. Finding out your partner was convicted of crimes and lied about it, or cheated in a horrific way and lied about it, lived a double life, etc. It causes a breakup in 100% of relationships involving untruths. Learning you've been conned or lied to for years, it's not salvageable. Story 30. One partner always gets their way. For me, it was easier to bend over backward than to deal with the whining and complaining if I stood my ground. Easier as in quotes because it was only easier in the short term, long term made life hell. Story 31. My GFBF doesn't let me have friends of the different gender. Story 32. Your feelings are being invalidated. You got mad at that when you say you're upset by something that they did. Story 33. If someone refuses to apologize for any reason, ever, it means they put their pride before the person they are with and the relationship. Story 34. A poison type. Story 35. I don't do that because my girlfriend, boyfriend doesn't want, like me too. Story 36. Constant heated verbal fights, using language where there is a clear lack of genuine respect for one another. Story 37. A lot of ups and downs, extreme emotions involved, fighting but being unable or unwilling to split, trying to control the other person. Story 38. Extremely long Facebook posts about their relationships, not being able to be themselves around their significant other, not letting them be around their friends without them being there. Story 39. Crying all the time, feeling worthless, feeling scared to say what's on your mind. Story 40. Jealousy and trying to control every aspect of your partner's life, putting everyone and everything else above your partner, trying to manipulate you through gifts or acts of service. Story 41. If you are not lifted up by your partner, but pulled down. Story 42. If you constantly make compromises just to appease them and you are always the bad guy. Story 43. When the efforts toward the relationship are highly imbalanced, one doing the receiving, the other doing all the giving. Story 44. My close friend and his girlfriend, who I was good friends with too before they started dating, decided to cut me off because his girlfriend took selfies with me at an event. Apparently they are an LT, asterisk both asterisk and GT, worried that she is going to cheat on him with me. Story 45. Being stalked at work or wherever you go, having to check in to get approval before doing anything. Story 46. Gaslighting, lying and hiding stuff. Shout out to my hooker ex-girlfriend. Story 47. When they are at a restaurant together and both of them are on the phone for the entire dinner. And no, I don't mean some cute elderly couples who check their phone for messages from their grandchildren. I mean couples who actively ignore each other and both seem pissed about the fact that they are spending time together. Story 49. Mine was being hit with a Doc Marten so many times that though my arm was broken because I confronted her about her lying about cheating on her ex and then her saying if I left her she'd beat the fuck out of herself and tell her uncle that was a cop that I did it. Story 50. The constant need to bring up how well they're doing whenever they're not fighting, only to repeat the fighting cycle. Story 51. Trash talking your partner to your friends. Story 52. Contemplating having kids in an effort to save or make it stronger. Story 53. Keeping score, I did this last time, or you never do that, leads to anger at the other person for no reason. Story 54. Girl, only girlfriends are the girlfriends of her boyfriend's friends or vice versa. Story 55. Fighting in public. Story 56. Holding something over the other person. Example, my friend's boyfriend has to reconsider the relationship, and if he wants to marry her every time she does something wrong. She messed up a sauce for dinner once and he said this and contemplated for 3 days because how can I marry someone who doesn't listen to my instructions? Story 57. Double standards or expecting your partner to do something for you that you'd never do for them. Story 58. My hamster. She got angry, killed it, and gave it to my grandma. Story 59. Being asked not to like or comment on any of their Facebook posts because they're so will flip out if they notice someone of the opposite sex is in their friend list. Story 60. Resentment and eggshell walking. When they start to become more than just a passing thing, see, it happens for more than a day or so on either side, it is really hard to come back from it. It infects every aspect of the relationship, even parts that are unrelated to the thing that originally spawned it.